Greetings, fellow barbarians. It is I, Alan Odinson, and this is the Barbarian Lounge podcast. I want to thank everybody for hanging out with me today. As always, we've got a great show lined up for you. I'm lining up some guests right now, guys. I'm sometimes getting people on the show is kind of like pulling teeth. Because everybody tends to have weird schedules, but as I've been saying before, if anybody has any suggestions for guests, please feel free to contact me and let me know. You can obviously comment under the show. You can also contact us on our Facebook page, the Barbarian Lounge podcast on Facebook. Go there, send a private message. Let me know if you got some people you'd like to hear on the show. I've got some of my own people kind of lined up, and we are rapidly approaching our 100th episode. Yes, that's right. 100 episodes in. We are rapidly coming up to that point, and to be perfectly honest with you, it's kind of been a milestone that's been in front of me for a while. And at first it was the 50th show, and I wanted to do a good show for that. But this 100th show, man, it almost feels like it's taking too long to get here. Like I'm right there, and I just can't quite seem to cross that line. So I may actually just kind of hit some overtime here in the next few weeks and just try and smash out my way to the 100th show, because I've got a guest lined up for the 100th show that people have been wanting to hear for a while, and I think that when they get on here and we can have a conversation, I think it will be something of epic proportions. So it's tough to get my schedule in line a lot of times to really smash out a lot of these shows. But I may do it, man. I'm thinking about it, and I've kind of got it in my head that I want to do it. And a lot of times when that happens, I can't really stop myself. So, well, let's get a little bit of the housekeeping out of the way before we get started with today's content. First off, our website is thebarbarianlounge.com. Go there, check it out. Got a lot of different stuff on there. I got some new articles up on there, as well as some updated the updated show listings. I believe I'm trying to remember where I've got it listed on there now. We should be able to upload our archives coming up here soon. So the archive on the actual site there for, I think it's the show 70 through 79. I should be able to update those here in the near future. So keep an eye out for that. Also, I urge you while you're there, check out our shop. In that shop, we got several different items in there, one of which is our Thuggy Strangulation cords. Yes, that's right. Here at the Barbarian Lounge, our goal is to make strangulation great again. And there's no better way to do so than with one of our Thuggy Strangulation cords. If you've listened to our broadcast on, if you listen to our broadcast on Thug Life, the episode regarding the Thuggy cult of India, you'll find the cultural significance and exactly why that tool was made the way it is. So check it out there. Go there, pick one up, support the show. All of those are handmade by yours truly. No, we don't have a little sweatshop with some Asians crammed in the back making those. It is me that is making them myself. So pick one up, support the broadcast. Every little bit helps to keep the lights on here. The other thing you do when you're there is check out that donate button. Click on that donate button and you will have two options. One of those options is a one-time PayPal donation, which is as advertised. You click on it, make a one-time PayPal donation. Whatever you want to do, just every little bit is going to help. If you just want to put enough in there for me to buy a cup of coffee, remember I drink the expensive shit, so you're going to have to toss in probably about a 10-piece in there. So, but you can go there and do that to help support the broadcast. Also, the other option is to become a member on our Patreon site. By becoming a member on our Patreon site, you will click that link. It'll take you to our page, patreon.com/thebarbarianlounge, and you can become a member. By becoming a member, you will be charged on a per-show basis. So if you do the minimum amount of $1 per episode, that comes up to $8 a month. So you may say to yourself, well, wait a minute, Odinson, you only do 4 shows a month. That's because you're not a member. If you are a member, you can go there and you will get our 4 regular shows early. A lot of times it's several days early. Sometimes it's a week early, depending on how early I can get that stuff uploaded to our regular site. But you also gain access to 4 exclusive broadcasts that air every single month only for members. So that's 8 total shows a month there as a member. Needless to say, for that members content, I'm allowed to, because let's be honest, those are people that are willing to put a little skin in the game, so I'm willing to give them a little more. So when they get a little bit of more of an unfiltered Odinson on there sometimes. So I tell you guys, you guys may think I'm unfiltered here, but I keep the governor on pretty good here, so I don't completely run off the rails. So I'm able to open it up a good bit on that member site. So I also like to keep things very educational and instructional on there also. And those people that are members, I always say they're the ones that are willing to put something in, and I'm willing to give back to them. The suggestions they make, guests they want to hear, all these different things, they always get they always tend to get the preferential treatment. That's just kind of the way it goes. If they're not willing to, this is my text tone going off there just a minute ago. If you guys were wondering who the hell that was screaming, if those people who actually put in the extra time and effort and to go there and join the movement, those people that are willing to put in a little bit of cash my way to help support the broadcast, well, when they make a suggestion, it gets done, plain and simple. The other thing that they have the benefit of is a full listing of our archives. As you guys know, last year we got hacked twice by members of Antifa, leftists, whatever, communists, where I call them fucking communists as far as I'm concerned. We got hacked twice last year by them. And they were able to basically wipe our host site out. And luckily enough, it's taken me a while, but I've actually managed to get our archives uploaded there. All the archives go dating all the way back to show number 1. So you can check those out there. So as a member, I mean, you're getting a lot of bang for your buck there. And I think it's important, and I've done shows on this in the past, it's very important for us to understand that, when it comes to supporting your local podcast host, you need to do it. We're not funded by fucking George Soros. We're not funded by, big money. These are all independent people. I have a small, ever so small studio set up here that I'm running this show out of. And even though it's a small studio, there's still money that has to go out. There's money that has to go out for hosting sites. I've had to upgrade security like crazy since getting attacked last year. All those things are monthly costing, I can't hardly talk, guys. All those are monthly costs that go out every single time. And it's only because of the members that this thing is able to keep running here. A lot of people tell me all the time that they enjoy the content, and I urge them, if you truly enjoy it, you need to put some skin in the game. Because without those people there, it's very, very tough to keep the train rolling here. It really is. It's a balancing act. And, I put a lot of things in jeopardy when I'm running this show. Just because, I've already shown myself to be attacked. I was actually, our 2 sites for the Barbarian Lounge were attacked twice last year. One attack was successful, but they've also even attacked my personal business and me personally. So there's a lot at risk what we're doing here. And to be perfectly honest with you, the reward is minimal. And I want to see you guys get involved. No more sitting on the sidelines. I did the show called Support the Fight, and the guys like me, there's a lot of guys out there that are doing really good shows, and we're on the front line, and we're fighting back against these guys. We're the voice crying out in the darkness, telling you there's something coming. But in order for us to be able to hold the line, we need support. We need people behind us. No military is going to be able to last in a fight for any significant amount of time if they don't have adequate support. So that's what we're looking at here. And so please, go there, put in a little bit, get some back from the Barbarian Lounge here. Go to that donate button, one-time PayPal donation, go to the shop, purchase a thug cord, or become a member, and get in the fight, guys. We're rapidly approaching. A lot of people fell asleep. When Donald Trump got elected, a lot of people fell asleep thinking everything's going to be fine. But I'm telling you, I've seen it before, and I'm going to say it again right here. Things are not fine. Things are not fine. The enemy is growing. Their lunacy is spreading all throughout right now as we speak, where they're talking about a government shutdown this evening as I shoot this. So I don't know whether or not that's going to play out or not. And for most of it, it's not going to matter. But there are some people who are working, federal prison guards and whatnot, that are working for this system, and they're going to have to go to work for free. Yes, that's true. Okay, so we need to really think about where we stand. We need to think about where we stand, because I'm telling you, all these Antifa groups, these communist groups you see out there pushing all these rallies and going out and destroying statues and nothing's happening to them. A lot of these people are funded. They're funded. They're paid to go out and do this. If they get arrested, they are paid. Their bail is paid. Their charges are dropped in a lot of cases. We don't have that option here. We don't have that option. I don't think people really understand the risks that a lot of people in the world of radio are really doing. And this show's carried on several different platforms. We got a network at UCY.tv. Those guys, shout out to my network, UCY.tv. Phenomenal shows going on there. But, those guys, some of the content they put up, especially even putting this show up, they're putting their necks out to get the truth, to get the information out there, to put different points of view out there. We got to support our local podcast hosts, guys. These people that are out there, man, I've known good people in the movement who do wonderful shows that have had to step down because they can't get the support. They don't have the support network that they need. So, I guess that's my, support the fight rant there. Oh, man. Alright, let's get into a little bit of this content here that I wanted to talk about. So, as I said before, we're on the cusp, as I shoot this, we're on the cusp of a government shutdown. Now, we've seen this little song and dance time and time and time again. But I swear to you, in most cases, it's issues of taxation. It's issues of nitpicky, healthcare things. Like last time they were wanting to push through healthcare and they didn't want to play that game. And these guys want these tax cuts and these guys don't want this tax cut. And it's just this constant back and forth. The constant failure in leadership here in this nation. And, that should really be, seeing this countless time and time and time again, that should really be the canary in the coal mine here. If you guys don't understand that whole aspect, they used to keep canaries in cages down in the coal mine, and whenever some of because you can get fumes and gases and poison that starts coming through the air, and a lot of times you can't smell it, and the canaries will actually react to it first. So you see that canary fall dead in the cage there, you better get your ass out. So it was a warning. And what we're seeing with these constant push for government shutdown. Oh, government shutdown's coming, and this is coming. We're seeing the system really showing its vulnerability and its lack of leadership. Because right now, let's be honest, the people that are in power, most of these people, they're all thinking next term. Because let's break it down for what it is. Oh, they're our representatives and they represent us. Bull fucking shit. They do not represent us. They represent themselves. They're interested in the next vote that comes around. Why do you think when people start coming out against them, when, there's this policy that's controversial, why do you think they hold their tongue? They hold their tongue because they don't want to lose the next election. You will see a lot of people in positions in the Senate, House. You will see them become very, very, very quiet on certain issues once the next election's rolling around. That's the name of the game. It's all about not losing their job, because let's be honest, outside of politics, what sort of benefit do these people offer to society? What are they going to do? What are they going to do? Some people have things to fall back on, but most of these people, all they know is politics. That's it. So everybody gets concerned about their job. And most of the problem that we're seeing, especially this year, one of the things that makes this year's whole talk of a government shutdown kind of unique in my eyes is the fact that one of the main issues is on the illegal immigration. The whole DACA agreement, right? The Dreamers. You guys know my stance that I put forth on the whole, immigration issue, but we've got right now Democrats, which are, Democrats is just a slang word for communist in many cases. We've got Democrats in power who are wanting to basically bring about, holding the nation hostage, basically, wanting to bring the government to a halt, no pay for federal employees. They want to, cause a government shutdown solely because they want to protect the rights of people who are criminals. And that's my stance on illegal immigration. If you are here and you did not come here legally, you are therefore here illegally. Illegally is not legal. It is a crime. So they have drugs versus illegal drugs, right? Does that make sense? It's not very difficult to figure out. If you're in fighting, if you're in MMA, you have legal strikes, punches to the face, versus illegal strikes, downward elbows to the back of the head. Legal strike, kick them in the leg. Illegal strike, kick them in the nuts. Alright, so these things aren't difficult. These words actually mean things. I know that's weird. That's very strange. Words actually mean things. But this is the thing that gets me. I don't even know. They talk about the immigration debate. There's no debate. There's no debate to be had. These people have committed a crime. They're lucky they're not going to jail. I would actually prefer them not to go to jail, because if they go to jail, guess who's got to take care of them? That's right, you and I. And, I think that the harsh truth, and that's what a lot of people have trouble with harsh truth. The harsh truth of the matter is, this country is going to continue traveling down the path that it's going until we actually rip the Band-Aid off. It's not going to feel good. A lot of people are going to be hurt by it. But the fact of the matter is things are not going to get better until we tear the Band-Aid off and make some harsh truths. It's the same way I was talking to somebody the other day about the whole issue with people abusing the fact that they can just have children and the government will take care of them, right? Well, the government's not taking care of them. We're taking care of them. We're paying for these people to have kids. And I made the comment, I said, what if we instituted a policy that said, you know what? We will take care of this many kids. We'll take care of 2. We'll give you 2. We will help you take care of 2 kids. After 2 kids, you're on your own. You're on your own. You have to take care of them. What happens then? Well, kids are going to die. The unfortunate harsh truth is that may be the only way that people get it in their fucking head that you can't just breed uncontrollably, right? Unless you want to start talking about sterilizing people and, oh shit, that's eugenics. We don't want to talk about that, do we? Okay, so something's got to happen. You give people a certain level of freedom of choice to make good decisions. But people can't make good decisions. They can't. Some people can. Responsible people can. But if you incentivize irresponsibility, what do you think will happen? Of course they're going to be irresponsible. So, you've got these people. I just saw the big story the other day that said, oh, this guy was here 30 years when he'd come here with his family, and he was here 30 years and now he's being deported. Oh, it's so sad. It's so sad. I don't give a shit. This guy was here 30 years and did not go through the process of becoming a citizen? Really? I told the story about, I think it was last episode. Might have been last episode or the time before that, where I know this lady who married a gentleman from Algeria, right? This guy was not allowed to just get the whole marriage thing and that's that. Because actually, believe it or not, they did not get married here in the U.S. So he actually had to go through a citizenship process. And people always tell me, like, you don't understand how hard it is and how long it takes. Yes, I do. I know this individual. And, yep, it took him a while. Didn't take him like 6 months, I can tell you that. But it did take some time. But guess what? They're here now. And they've assimilated into the culture that is the United States. Now that's completely opposite of someone who's been here 30 years. They've been here 30 years, barely speak the language, and say, oh, well, you just don't know how hard the citizenship process is. You never tried. How can you tell me how difficult it is when you've never tried? You know, it's kind of like the accommodation factor. We basically made it easy for this to happen because we want to be PC and we don't want to be mean to people. So, you know, we say, well, we've got a lot of Spanish speaking people here. Why don't we just start putting Spanish on everything? That makes a lot of sense, right? So you start accommodating these people. I cannot go to some place that speaks, I'm trying to think, I can't go to some place like, let's say I went to, let's just say I went to Mexico. Let's say I went to Mexico. Or let's go a little bit deeper. Let's say I went to Brazil. I went to Brazil. I go to Brazil. If I don't speak Portuguese, guess what? I can't expect everybody to accommodate me because I don't speak Portuguese. I got to learn the language. If I'm going to live, I say I'm going to live in Brazil now. I've got to learn that language or I'm not going to be able to stay there. I can't expect everybody to accommodate me. I can't get pissed off because they don't understand English. You know, it's the same thing here. If people are going to live here, they need to embrace that which is the United States, but they're not willing to do that. They're not willing to do that. Instead, they want to come here, breed like crazy. I was standing in line the other day and I watched a lady in line with me, a Hispanic lady. She was here. She had children that were basically like stepladders and she had one bun in the oven. And I'm like, holy shit, that's tax write-off 1, tax write-off 2, tax write-off 3, tax write-off 4, and we're cooking number 5 right now. Who's paying for these things? You know, they're not paying. I know where these people live at. They're not paying for these kids. All right? So yes, I have a problem with that. I have a problem with taking care of other people's problems. Okay? I have a huge issue with that. Because I work, you know, being somebody who's in business for themselves, I work really fucking hard to make every red cent that passes through my hand. Every one of those is precious to me. And to know that my money has to go out to support people who aren't willing to, 1, assimilate to this nation, 2, learn the language, and then breed uncontrollably, yeah, I've got a problem with that. I've got a huge problem with that. I also have a problem with that when I look at the long game, because responsible people aren't breeding like this. And I use the term breeding because that's what the fuck it is. Responsible people aren't breeding like this. They're not. It's the irresponsible. And slowly but surely, as the long game begins to play out, and yes, I'm looking 20, 30 years into my crystal ball, I'm seeing a world that looks vastly different than the one we're living in right now. People say this nation was founded on taking in poor people and taking in this, taking in that. Let me tell you something, man. United States didn't build that fucking statue. France built that fucking statue and give it to us as a gift and said, here you go. Here you go. Yeah, take this. France, here, have at it. Here's your statue. It's a present. It's a present from us. We didn't write those fucking words. The founding fathers didn't write those fucking words. A bunch of Frenchmen wrote those words. And let me know how France is doing right now. Okay? Let me know. Hey, give me your poor, give me your weak. No, that's not from us. France is being overrun right now by following that policy. I don't give 2 shits about the Statue of Liberty. This nation was founded on independence. It was founded on self-sufficiency. It was founded on not depending on a king to control every little aspect of your life. Where have we gone? Where are we now? We're losing these things. People say that America's dying. The ideals behind what built America is dead already. It was on life support for a lot of years before we were even born yet. It was on life support. And man, people are trying to create now this like weird Frankenstein monster mixed in with all these different parts from all this part and that part and putting it together and trying to get a nice little bolt of lightning to bring this thing to life. But Frankenstein's monster eventually goes out of control and kills its maker. We have to understand the long game here. I tell everybody, focus on the long game. Yes, pay attention to what's in front of you. I'm not telling you not to pay attention to that which is around you, but you need to see the future as well. You don't need a crystal ball to see where things are going. You don't need a crystal ball to see the plan of those in power. So right now, we have communists embedded in our leadership. These people have worked their way in for many, many, many years, and they are embedded there, and they are trying their best to bring down this nation. I was listening to, before I came on air, I was listening to Peter Schiff, and Peter Schiff was talking about the bubble that's growing right now, the financial bubble. And while everybody is all excited about this and that under Trump, he was saying, look, this is all smoke and mirrors, guys. Donald Trump has not attacked the actual bubble that has built up, and it's probably going to burst under his first term. And when it bursts, he's going to be the fall guy, and it's going to be hell to pay. And they want this to happen to create a no faith in the system of capitalism to usher in, guess what? Communism. And they'll probably have fucking Oprah Winfrey, ferrying that whole shit in here, right? I've already told people right now, I said, be prepared. You need to go ahead and start preparing yourself for the fact of Oprah Winfrey being president. And I'm not saying that's going to happen, but hell, if I'd have told you, 5-6 years ago that Donald Trump was going to be president, you'd be like, what? Get out of here. Only people that knew that were the Simpsons, so I'll figure that one out for you. But right now we've got these communists embedded here in the positions of power, and they are trying to make sure that their votes for the next year do not get pushed out. That's their whole goal. They don't want to lose their votes. Because that's what they do. They've always used the minority vote as their foot soldiers. And it doesn't matter what happens. Doesn't matter how many, we just had that one guy, I don't remember where it was at, but everybody's probably seen the video of him smiling and laughing when he shot a bunch of cops, right? As a Hispanic guy, one of these quote-unquote dreamers, shot a bunch of cops and was saying, they asked him if he was upset about it, and he said no. He said, I wish I'd shot more of those motherfuckers. And he's laughing about it. So these are the dreamers, right? These are the ones that are committing the crimes out there. Nobody wants to talk about that. They want to talk about open borders and, even like the libertarians. Libertarians like, there should be no property rights, man. I don't think you guys understand what the fuck a country is. Okay? No borders is exactly what they have right now over there in Europe. They have imaginary borders, but fuck, people are walking right over. How is that working out for them? You do not have a nation when you do that. You can't have unlimited access to something. Hey, hell, let's just remove all doors from the front of houses. Where your property rights go in there, right? It's crazy, man. So, right now we have communists in power, in the positions of power in the House and the Senate. Those people are trying to hold up the vote to bring in a government shutdown, all because they wish to support illegal activity. They wish to allow illegal aliens to stay here. They want you to pay for them. They want me to pay for them. They want you to be paying for them indefinitely. They want them to take the jobs that are out there, and they're just doing jobs that Americans won't. Bullshit. We don't know that because they're doing the fucking jobs. It's crazy to me, man. People say, well, what can we do? I can tell you right now, I'm not a your vote counts kind of guy. In case you haven't heard that already. I will say that the whole Donald Trump presidency kind of threw that for a loop. But at the same time, we've seen that even with your vote counting, with a Republican-controlled House and Senate, a Republican president, the guy that everybody wanted, you see all those things in play, and we're still playing the same game over and over again. What has really changed? You can't push anything through. When the president does sign something, what happens? Some little commie judge in bumfuck wherever decides to come out and say, I've issued an order that says no, we're not going to allow that. And then it gets held up. So there's only so much that can be done with the whole voting system. I mean, we're pretty much at the point now we need to find everybody who houses a communist ideology and drag them into the streets. That's about as close to fixing shit as you're going to get. And that's not even going to turn out well in the long run. That's just real talk, guys. That's real talk. I mean, let's be honest. You know, peaceful revolution, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? What the fuck is a peaceful revolution? You know, there's never, find me a peaceful revolution that played out well in the end. Find me one. You're not going to. People have tried, oh, what about Gandhi? No, there was a lot of elements in play that led to that. So, you know, we're seeing the system do what the system does, right? Well, there are enough people in power right now controlling high-level positions. There are enough federal little commie judges out there. There's enough to keep everything at a stall and at a standstill. And I am seeing insane parallels to what happened to the fall of the Roman Empire. We are playing out that game right now. Go back, read some books, see what was going on. You'll see the same nitpicky bullshit going on then as going on now. But the thing is we're not looking at just a fall and a collapse into roving tribes of men here. We're looking at a fall and a collapse that leads to a communist revolution. That has been the plan for a long time now. Why do you think the media is controlled mostly by communist sympathizers? Why do you think Antifa is allowed to run through the streets, bash people's head in, and there's no recourse for that? Why are professors allowed to go out and spew this propaganda to the quote-unquote higher re-education learning centers? Why are they able to do this? This is all playing out. This game has been done before. The playbook hasn't changed. You don't have to learn anything new. You just got to go back and learn that which is old. And that's what we're seeing right now. It's playing out before us. You know, I saw this thing. I wanted to talk about this. I'm going to see if I can pull it up here. Let's see. So if you guys saw, there's a university that was in their diversity class. And let's talk about what the left's idea of diversity is, right? The left's idea of diversity is basically getting rid of white people and that white people are bad. And, true diversity, if you're truly celebrating diversity, is bringing everybody in. Everybody in, right? You know, diversity is Indian, black, Asian, Islamic, if you want to play that game. Oh my God. Stay filtered. Keep the filter on. Keep the filter on. European people, bringing people together under a common banner. That would be your diversity, right? That would be your diversity. But more and more, these re-education centers that masquerade as higher learning are starting to push this whole ideology of the white people being bad. And there's a problem with that. Because as I say, the long game, we've got a problem here. These guys are going to use the term diversity. We need to call it for what it is. Diversity is celebrating that which makes us different. And people are different. People are different, even when it comes to different people's intelligence levels as it relates to, statistically within amongst different races. If you actually take some of the studies that have been done on race and intelligence, man, the Asians are like at the top of the list on things. Some people are just genetically predisposed to be better at things. And that's just the way it is. That's the way we were built. And those things are not to be demonized. They're to be celebrated. But that's not the whole mentality behind this quote unquote false diversity that they want to push. So this university here was pushing this class they were taking. I'm going to see what it was. Let's see. It was a university was offering a diversity class, and what they were saying was they wanted to show people, because I saw some reviews from it from some of the different students that were there, and they said, this whole thing has nothing to do with diversity. Basically what they did was bring us in here and tell us how white people are bad and white people need to go. That was basically what it was about how all of us didn't work for anything that we have because we're white. We all have white privilege. And I think that's a funny thing in itself, white privilege. What is white privilege anyway? I mean, I'm going to look. Hold on, just a second. Oh, no. Let's see here. No. I must have misplaced my white privilege somewhere. Maybe I left it, in my big giant Scrooge McDuck safe full of gold chips that I have. That all white people, when we're born, that's what we're gifted from our supreme leader. If that makes any sense. It's a ridiculous connotation. You take somebody like myself. I grew up in a family that was, lower middle class, and we've worked our way up. Now, it's not because that we just magically were given everything in the process. If you look at the true statistics behind things, through many of these quote unquote diversity programs, it's much easier for people that are of African American origin. It's much easier for them to get things like better education. They have more opportunity for grants. They have more programs that allow assistance. All these things are out there. I remember when I was looking at a thing for a grant for, I believe it was for some farmland a while back. This was a long time ago, guys. And I remember reading it said on there, we do not discriminate based on race, religion, all the things they always say. And then it says, right underneath it, which is crazy, that these specific people will receive preferential treatment to those to other people who are signing up for this. Now the people listed was African American, Hispanic, women. It was basically everything but straight white male was listed under there, and I'm like, wow, so much for my privilege, right? But even if you really want to, I know a lot of people have said, and it's kind of tough to argue with. The whole idea behind white privilege is, I've heard people say, you have white privilege, and I heard them go, yeah. I think it was the first person I ever heard say this was Tuan Tom. And it's so true. He's like, yeah, we do have white privilege. And you know why that we have white privilege? The reason we have white privilege is because we work damn hard to get it. And there's a lot of truth behind that. Because if you look at that which is Western civilization, most of these people that are condemning the West, let me tell you something. You can thank the West for having roads. You can thank the West for building many of your cathedrals throughout the world. You can thank the West for your higher education systems. You can thank the West for most of the things that we have right now. The reason that we're able to keep track have good written language, and you have beautiful architecture was based off of European people. Think about it. Think about mostly the European people, the Asian customs. Around the Japanese, the Chinese, which they have their own culture. But for the most part, Western civilization founded a lot of that which we celebrate today. And people have a lot of problems. People have a lot of issues with that. People have, you go to, like the whole last episode on shitholes, right? You go to places that aren't really controlled by Western civilization. What do they look like? All right, what do they look like? They're shitholes. They are. It's unfortunate, and I really wish they would be able to get their shit together, but it ain't happening, guys. It ain't happening. So this particular class was they had this. I saw this image, and I really thought it was fake when I first looked at it, but then I found out, unfortunately, that it is real. Is they had this diagram called the Pyramid of White Supremacy. Oh, buckle in, guys. This is the good one here. So they have these different things lined up here, and it says in a pyramid, every brick depends on the ones below it for support. If the bricks at the bottom are removed, the whole structure comes tumbling down. So what's interesting about reading that is what they're saying is, as long as we get rid of these bottom things in the pyramid, that the whole system in itself comes down. So the top of the pyramid, the very tip top of the pyramid, says genocide. That's all it says. It says genocide. I'm sorry. It says genocide, mass murder. It says mass murder. So let's talk about that whole ideology, because when they talk about this whole thing of the pyramid of white supremacy, they're actually talking about people on the right. They're talking about white people on the right, and a lot of times they'll even lump people of other nationalities into this same thing. So when we look at this pyramid, we start to understand the mentality of the left here. But, they throw out genocide, mass murder. What is their main go-to individual for mass murder? Who's the guy they always go to? Hitler, right? They go to Hitler. And they say, oh my God, Hitler killed, I don't want to get into the numbers, but Hitler killed all these different people. So, he had these camps and death camps and blah, 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 blah. And they throw all that shit out there. First off, the ideology behind the Nazi Party was a form of socialism. Okay, so we can throw that out there just to start with. Now, there are some different aspects behind that, National Socialism. National Socialism, this and that, okay. But let's just say, for instance, just for the sake of argument for the people on the left, we'll say, okay, that we'll use that one as evidence, all right? So there you go. Well, I hate to tell you guys, but the winner, the guy that holds the ideology that holds the championship title, undefeated, they've scored billions upon billions deaths in the process. They're on a kill streak like no other. Is communism. Even if you go to guys like Pol Pot, you go to guys like Stalin, you go to Mao Zedong, you go to those guys. Communist ideology. Guess what? Hitler's not even on the fucking map. Not even on the map. The ideology across the world that holds the record is communism. So, when they're talking about, for some reason, this whole white supremacy thing is going to be the danger, I hate to tell you guys, but when it comes to genocide, it's not a bunch of white supremacists winning the fight here. Okay? It's a bunch of communists that are winning the fight. The next rung of the pyramid is violence. Unjust police shootings. Notice they put unjust police shootings. Unjust police shootings. That's a nice little, I didn't notice that before. That's a nice little, piece of information in there. So they got unjust police shootings, lynching, and hate crimes. First off, most of the hate crimes that's been reported, you can go back and check a lot of them, and you'll find that they were actually faked in the process. Now, do actual hate crimes occur? Sure they do. I don't particularly like the term hate crime, because a crime should not be, I've heard some people say this, and I totally agree with it. A crime should not be made to a higher level based on the emotion behind the crime as it happened. Okay? If a guy assaults somebody, why, and let's just say it's a black guy assaulting a white guy, and he's beating the shit out of him, and he's calling him a stupid cracker the whole time he's doing it. Okay, I mean, what he did was he committed assault. He committed assault and battery there, okay? Why tack on anything else because of the emotion he had behind it? I don't think it, that's the reason that he did it. Okay, well, there's a lot of people that do shit that don't need a reason. So I'm not a whole big fan of that whole aspect. I think it's kind of a little addition that's thrown around without really much justification. Lynching. When's the last lynching you've heard of? Oh, wait a minute. I remember a lynching that I saw. Now that I think about it, if you what was that? I remember when the Charlotte riots were going down. I remember seeing a lynching, actually. There was a white guy running down into one of these small basements, screaming at this group of black people. He was screaming at them, saying, please, don't hurt me. I didn't do anything. Why? And they beat the shit out of him in the parking lot. There was also a lynching I recall seeing where these four teenagers grabbed this mentally handicapped white kid, beat him up, cut him, took chunks out of his head, tortured him for, I believe it was over 24 hours, not mistaken, and did it just because they didn't like white people. And by the way, the sentencing just came in for that, and the main girl that was involved behind it, she received the harsh sentence of probation, and she's not allowed to be on Facebook for 2 years. No, that's not a joke. That's serious. Okay? So, when I start thinking about when these magical lynchings that go on, because let's be honest, I live in the South, right? I cannot tell you the last thing I've ever heard that tells me there was a lynching involved. I mean, a lynching? Get the fuck out of here with that nonsense. Unjust police shootings. Unjust police shootings. Now, I haven't seen too many of those. Unfortunately, they want us to believe that Michael Brown had his hands up and saying don't shoot, when in actuality he was charging. He'd already beat some people up and beat up the cop a little bit before he got shot. Michael Brown, he was a teenager, and they show these little sweet pictures of him, but the reality is he was a damn near 275-pound, 300-pound man, 6 foot plus tall, against this little small guy. Huge disparity of force. If it had been the opposite way around, it still would have been a justified shooting. Okay. All right, if it had been a white dude that had those statistics versus a skinny little black cop, that cop would also have been absolutely justified in shooting him. The next thing, calls for violence, right? Calls for violence. Neo-Nazis, KKK, the N-word, Confederate flags, burning crosses. Burning crosses, yep. I'm sure you guys, how many people listening to this show have actually seen in person a burning cross anywhere? I haven't. It's always funny, like, people make such a big deal out of the KKK as this, they're the group that's going to rise up and start fucking people up. Let me tell you something. The KKK is about as irrelevant as anything has ever been. Like I said, I live in the South, and man, the KKK is so irrelevant. Most of them, I've always thought the whole idea of people that claim to be white supremacists, I've always thought it's kind of funny, because most of the people that say they're white supremacists are not supreme in the least bit. Most of them are overweight. Most of them, can't climb a flight of stairs without getting exhausted. They got 3 teeth in their mouth. It's fucking ridiculous. But, to act like that these people actually hold any sort of sway in power is amusing. Is absolutely amusing. Now, do they exist? Of course they do. Of course they do. But that they want to throw out that whole thing of the Confederate flag, right? And you guys know my stance on that. I've talked about that before. Living here in the South, man, that flag is something we've seen here forever. And it never became an issue until fucking carpetbaggers from up north came down here and made it an issue. It's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And to be honest with you, a lot of these quote-unquote groups that get out there and start screaming white power and everything like that, I don't have any love for them at all, because most of them actually end up ruining the good dialogue that could be going on between people. They could actually bring information to power, bring it to light, so people could actually have a legitimate discussion with these things. But these idiots, they're no different than people yelling racist or screaming Black Lives Matter. It's no different. Neither one of you are accomplishing shit. Neither one of you are accomplishing shit. You're just making an ass out of yourselves. So it's hilarious. Now, these particular levels of the pyramid are not really that big a deal. It's like, okay, okay, I see. I can see where those things could be alarming, but you have to understand. They said that every brick depends on the ones below it for support. So if the bricks at the bottom are removed, the whole structure begins tumbling. So we're moving down toward the bottom here. Discrimination. Mass incarceration. Mass incarceration. I know, I will tell you this. When it comes to mass incarceration, this is probably the one subject that I can probably give the most definitive answer on. There is mass incarceration. It is. And, it is something that's, I have some friends that work in the prison, federal prisons, state prisons, local prisons, and mass incarceration is a thing, but there's one thing that can definitely be done to stop it. And I think it's something we should absolutely discuss here very quickly. This is probably one of the most important aspects you'll ever hear as it relates to mass incarceration and how to stop it. So, here we go. Stop breaking the law, asshole. That's it. Stop breaking the fucking law. If you don't want to go to prison, stop breaking the law. Stop committing crimes. Stop selling dope. Stop stealing other illegal things. Stop taking part in illegal activity. Stop being in a gang. Stop doing all the shit that you're doing that gets you put in prison. It's really simple. Just don't do it. If you don't do it, guess what? magically enough, you don't go to jail. Magically enough. Oh, we're poor and we want to have things. Get a fucking job. Get out there and work. I was fucking poor and I wanted to have things. Guess what I did? I started some fucking businesses. I started a hit podcast show. All right? Do something. Quit blaming other people for your problems, living in that whole victim mentality. I'm sick of hearing it. It's real simple. Stop breaking the law and you don't have to worry about mass incarceration. Racial profiling. Racial profiling in general is done for a reason. When you see something that's a threat, let me tell you something. If you've ever seen me or met me in person, I get profiled all the time. All the time. 6 foot tall, 240 pound man. I got tattoos all over me. I got a long ass beard, bald head. I walk around with a scowl on my face. I was dressed up the other day, and me and my wife went out, and I looked at her. I said, I saw an image of myself in a car mirror as I was walking past. I said, I'm dressed like the guy voted most likely to rob you in the parking lot today. Yes, people profile me. They see me and they pull their kids a little closer. I get it. I don't get upset about that. It doesn't have anything to do with racial profiling. The reason people are profiling somebody is based off of an image or a threat they give you. If I walk up to you with my pants fucking sagging down and I got a oversized hoodie on and my hands are dancing around my belt line, I got a do-rag bandana on, I'm covered in tats, I got fucking gold teeth and a Mr. T starter kit hanging around my neck, what do you think's gonna happen? I expect you to profile me. If you don't profile me, you're a fucking sheep. But if I'm walking up there, but a black guy is walking up towards me, and he's dressed in a fucking suit, there's going to be a lot less profiling that's going on because my brain does not see that as an immediate threat. I don't just automatically see a black guy and go, oh shit, he's a danger. No! I see anybody that looks like trouble's a danger. Profiling is a thing that all animals have evolved to understand when there's a threat coming towards them. Do you not think that, like, let's say a gazelle, right? A gazelle sees a lion. Gazelle sees a lion, he looks at him, and he goes, oh shit. He looks at his other gazelle buddies, and he goes, oh shit, there's a lion. And the gazelle goes, hey man, don't fucking profile him. Not all lions are bad. But it's like, dude, he looks like that's a lion. He looks like a lion, and everything about him screams lion. He's got sharp teeth. He's staring at me. He's got some fucking bones around him. That's a lion. Bro, that's not cool. Don't profile that lion, man. It's a defense mechanism, guys. It's a defense mechanism, and I think it's totally justified. Anybody that does it to me, I have zero problem with you. I have zero problem with you at all. I deserve to be profiled, man. Let's see, school to prison pipeline. Again, stop breaking the fucking law. It's very, very simple. Fearing people of color. What the fuck is that, right? Most of the people that I know that fear somebody of color is totally based off of, one could be past experiences. But two, most of the people that fear people of color usually are like old people who grew up in the fucking 40s and trust me, they'll fear me the exact same way, even if we're the same color skin. Redlining, I don't even know what the fuck that is, so we're going to skip that one. Racial slurs. So, let me tell you something. Racial slurs get thrown around by everybody. It's just words. And if you're so weak that words injure you, you got more problems than worrying about racial slurs. Let me just tell you that, right? It's fucking words. If words hurt you that bad, you are a fragile human being. Anti-immigration policies. Oh shit. Well, there I go. I'm just underneath calls for violence, guys. Because I do have anti-immigration policies. I don't have issues with legal immigration, but I have problems with illegal immigration. But you see, these people want to open the doors because they want votes. All right, so we're working our way down. Here's another one underneath discrimination: funding schools locally. So if you fund schools locally in your area, you're a fucking racist and you're supporting white supremacy, you piece of trash. The next brick underneath is veiled racism. Victim blaming. How dare you blame the victim? Well, I'll tell you what, stop being a victim. In most issues, you're not even a victim. You volunteered for everything you got. Oh, this poor guy was locked up. Well, what was he doing? Well, he wasn't doing anything but resisting arrest, right? Cops tried to put cuffs on him, and he started fighting back. That's all he did. He was just walking down the street. It's like, yeah, but he was walking down the street talking to people, and he had some drugs in his feet. He was selling crack on the corner there. Yeah, but man, he's so poor. Stop being a fucking victim. You volunteer for that which you get. But they want us to believe that. You know, it's funny they say victim blaming, but the whole idea behind being a victim has been pushed by these people. Let's see. English only initiatives. So if you support people being in a country that primarily speaks English, you support them learning the language rather than using their own language, you're obviously a racist. So Eurocentric curriculum. So if you actually teach anything about European people, you're a racist. Racist mascots. Oh shit, don't talk about the Redskins. Oh, that's terrible. Don't talk about the Redskins. You know, that's so we're fucking up again. Let's see what else. Let's see. Claiming reverse racism. So if if somebody uses a level of reverse racism, if I actually call it out of saying that I see racism being used against me, that's actually racist, by the way. So these all make a lot of sense. Now understand, this is in college here, okay? This is what you learn when you go to college. Color blindness. So if you claim to not see color, you're also a racist. Because obviously you're lying. I actually think that color blindness is bullshit anyway. If somebody tells me they're colorblind and they don't see color, I say you're a fucking liar. There's nothing wrong with seeing color. That's diversity. That is celebrating that which makes us different. There's nothing wrong with that at all. You should. If I was somebody of color and they told me they're like, you know, man, I don't see color. I'm like, the fuck are you? Fuck you. I'm proud of where I come from. See me for who I am. Don't see me because you're trying to make yourself feel better. That's what a lot of these people, I don't even see color. Bullshit. Bullshit you do. You do see it. And you should celebrate it. Right? Why should you be upset about that? Let's go on down here. I want to wrap this up. I don't want to go too long. Minimization. So some of there's only one brick underneath this. So remember, all these things that I'm going to read you from here on out are all things that must be removed so the whole structure comes tumbling down. So these things we have to get rid of in order to stop white supremacy. So here they come. We all belong to the human race. That's got to be destroyed because they don't want that. You know, we can't say we're all the same, even though that's what they're trying to push, right? You see where the ideology starts falling apart? Denial of white privilege. Hey, well, if denying white privileges means that you are a white supremacist, then I think you should embrace it. When somebody says you have white privilege, say, you damn right, we worked fucking hard for it. Okay, we'll go with that. White savior complex. I'm sure they have some fancy terminology for that. Post-racial society, whatever that is. Why can't we all just get along? Oh, that's racist. You can't say that. So Reginald Denny, when he was... not Reginald Denny, Rodney King. When Rodney King got beat up and he said, can't we all just get along? He was actually being a white supremacist there, so how dare you. Now, Reginald Denny was actually the guy who was just driving down the street that a bunch of animals pulled him out of his vehicle and bashed his head in with a brick. So we all watched that on the news when it happened. Some of you whippersnappers might be too young to remember that. So, yeah. So we have to, obviously, apparently we have to make sure that we're always fighting in order to not be white supremacists. It doesn't matter who you vote for. Oops. Tee-hee. I guess I fell victim to that one too. Jesus Christ. I did not realize that I am actually, at the bottom of this pyramid is actually Alan Odinson on his hands and knees holding the whole thing up. Get over slavery. Yeah, because, I mean, you know, most of the people are still enslaved, right? I mean, we got slaves all over the place, right? I know most of the people I know own slaves now, so, yeah, you know, we should just tell people to, you know, get off their fucking knees for a little bit, right? You know, these people basically have fallen under this mindset. They're trying to push this mentality. When you tell people to get over slavery, it's like, you know, that was going on in the 1800s. We're in 2018. What the fuck is your problem? Somebody basically slapped you down to the ground, and I left. He came back